If we can't have fresh air, at least we can have fresh muffins. I've started shopping at the Professional Bull Rider Shop.
Oh, no.
And Beastmaster Rodeo Shop. I'm going to wear professional rodeo clothes, and then everyone will just assume that I'm a good bull rider.
For some reason.
Well, let me just say that if when I visit my lawyer's office, I fully expect there to be Transformers I can play with.
This is the Snaggletooth Rock and Roll Podcast. I learned something about you I did not know.
I was young. I needed the work. What?
I didn't know that when we couldn't find something like glasses, so you just go out and buy 42 of them, and then that makes you
It gives me
better.
a feeling of pleasure. Yeah. We have one hairbrush in the house that we both like, and we're always like, where to go? So I went and bought 5 hairbrushes. Yeah, I just like to have, if it's something that we need every day, I like to have options. Yeah.
Scissors. We can never find scissors.
I bought like 10 pairs of cheater glasses today. Yeah. So it's just something about me. Yeah. Anyway, so
Still undergoing a bit of construction down here.
yes, a bit. It'll be much better next week. We didn't correctly anticipate the amount of time it would take to rip out the carpet and replace it, but we got about an eighth of the floor done. We're gonna get the rest of it done Monday. So.
Yeah, we got stuff to do this weekend.
Look at that hottie behind me. See that? That's Stace dancing. She used to take a dance class, and I was secretly snapping pictures of her cute little body. Yeah. Thought we changed up a little bit. Get away from monsters and aliens and shit.
I'd like to present my butt.
Highlight Stacy's ass. Speaking of things that are asinine, we had an HR meeting last week, and there's these couple of new, younger employees that are pushing. They want to make the office more fun. All of the rest of us, the older people, are like, why?
I always thought office was supposed to kind of be the opposite of fun.
Yeah, kind of. They want to do like potluck lunches, birthday parties, team building exercises, shit like that. You know.
I don't know.
I can't imagine it. I mean, to be that fun obsessed, this is like going to your doctor and saying, do you also make balloon animals before you examine me? You know, I only will use an accountant that does my taxes on a unicycle. I mean, I want to have a good time all the time. Uh-oh.
What do we have?
We got Annabelle now.
Great.
Hey, she turned left, not right. That's good. What about something circus related? I mean,
yeah, I always thought it was so boring at the MVA, and you have to just sit there and wait and stare at their dumb screens and wait for your number to be called.
Yeah.
What about Cirque du Soleil performing as you wait? I mean, honestly, I always thought to get extra money for, instead of, making us pay all that money for registration and tickets and, licensing fees. How about they have a pit beef hot dog stand? It's lunch.
Like in the parking lot or something, or inside?
Kiosk in the MBA, selling food. It's going to be big. They could even have one of those signs up. We don't understand this. We have a little pit beef stand near us, and you can buy the food there, but it says you have to consume it elsewhere. Like, you can buy it and then get the hell out. So they could have a policy like that.
That's weird, yeah.
Yeah.
Keep registration costs down and stop unwanted hangriness.
Yeah.
Who could ever get hangry at the MBA? They're always so soft and lovable.
I got a feeling food or coffee at the MBA would be like very bland.
Yeah.
I got a feeling it wouldn't be of the highest quality for some reason.
Well, let me just say that if when I visit my lawyer's office, I fully expect there to be Transformers I can play with. Fun all the time. And speaking of robots, what do you think of Spotify's new AI DJ function? What do you think of that?
The first time I tried it, it was trying to play me indie rock, and I was like, no, no, no. And then all of a sudden, he kind of corrected himself and said, you know what? I'm going to put on some Wisconsin metal for you. I was like, thank you.
Mine was great from Jump Street. It said something that no DJ has ever said. We're going to start off this morning with some Burzum. I was like, oh, awesome. Now, the voice they have is I think it's kind of in beta mode, because the voice is just like some kind of hip guy's voice as the DJ. But everything has to be customizable. Soon you're going to be able to pick what your voice sounds like of your DJ. And I've got mine all worked out.
Oh, no.
I got it all worked out. I want my AI DJ to be a slightly angry Arnold Schwarzenegger. Okay? I've got it all figured out. Here it is. What's up, Liebchen? I'm your AI DJ. I'll make sure the hills are alive with the sound of music. I'm going to play a bitchin' block of As I Lay Dying from Austria, and they're better than any of those silly bands you like, so don't even think about skipping. The bass player buys smoked fish from my Uncle Friedrich. Enjoy, bitches. That's what I want. That's going to be my DJ.
My dude decided to say, I'm going to play an artist I haven't played you in a while. So consider this a reunion. This is Billy Squire. I was like, all right.
Billy Squire reunion, okay. It said to me, I'm going to go back to an artist you've got some history with. Here's Sparks. And I'm like, okay, don't tell the story. They're making it into a miniseries. So, anyway. Out of nowhere, this has nothing to do with anything, but we are using this new body lotion that you got us, and it's made from Himalayan sea salt. Christ, I'm wheezing from low oxygen levels. The more I moisturize, the closer I get to blacking out. The other day, she shook my arm over the popcorn. I can't figure out the tagline on the bottle either. It says, "The secret is in the seed."
Oh, well, that's because it also has hemp seed in all the hemp.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what that comes from. But it is kind of strange when you
How
don't
about-
understand.
Here's some other strange product slogans that we noticed.
Sunglass Shack, sitting on faces since 2001.
Wait, there's an attention getter. 7-Eleven. If we can't have fresh air, at least we can have fresh muffins. Why not?
Stoned and Strand Jewelry, since 2017. Something for every hole.
That's so bad. There's a small martial arts school in Seattle. It's called MKG Martial Arts. And for a while, their slogan was building better kids, one punch at a time.
That's the way to knock them into shape.
Oh, I love this.
This was actually South Dakota's anti-drug slogan for a while.
Yeah.
And their billboards and posters just said, mess, we're on it. I
Love
think
it.
you're
I
doing
love it.
wrong. You can actually look that up online. It's
I love
a real
it.
thing.
Carl's Jr., if it doesn't get all over the place, it doesn't belong on your face. What the hell's the product?
They just have all those burgers with all the toppings and the sauces that runs on your face. You ever seen the one where they
That's what's the other name for Carl's Jr.? It's the same as
Okay, Google, what is another name for Carl Jr.?
Hardee's.
Hardee's.
Okay, Google, thank you.
Did you ever see the commercials?
Somebody knows they're on camera.
Did you ever see the commercials for a while with like the girls in bikinis just slathering themselves with the burgers?
No.
Yeah.
This was Carl's Jr.?
It was an ad campaign. I
think it's Hardee's in the East Coast, and then at a certain point, because I remember when we went to Arkansas, they were Carl's Jr., so it must be a state-to-state thing. I don't get.
You always need a little sex into your sloppy burgers.
And finally, we'll end with Cottonelle's wonderful slogan, which was,
Go Commando.
Okay, shall we talk about this week's feature interview?
Our feature interview this week is Lee Love and Austin Rocket from the UK action rock band, The Hip Priests. This Nottingham-based five-piece has been cranking out their signature brand of uber-obnoxious garage punk since forming in 2006. Austin and Lee have tons of hilarious stories about the ups and downs of The Hip Priests. We get the scoop on the recording of the excellent latest album, Roddenhouse Blues, and maybe even a Lemmy story.
Oh,
You'll have to tune in to see.
definitely one of our better interviews. Let's play a song now. This is Pissed on Power.
I really, after like my first listen of Roddenhouse Blues, by the third song, I was like, oh, the ceiling just blew off for me.
Yeah.
Really good.
Really good. All right, let's talk about Patreon. Tons of bonus content that you can't get anywhere else at patreon.com/Snaggletooth Podcasts. This week, I'm going to share a very amusing story of how we in high school attempted to exploit a hanger-on in my era of vinyl obsession. And to say that it backfired is a major understatement. So get over to Patreon to hear what a schmuck I am, volume 35.
There was a store which there was a store which was quite aptly named Vinyl Discoveries that Mark used to make pilgrimages to.
Those were the days. Yeah, that was the record store. Yeah, it was when they would write up a little description on an index card and just tape it to the first record on the rack so that you could get an idea of what you were in for on an end cap. It was so cool. It was the first place I would go. It would be like the new Creator, or the new Queensryche, and they would just write up Dream Theater. They were like, put Kansas and ELP in a blender, and this is what you get. I remember that. Record store. Anyway, so why don't we transition? You're going to see some footage of us podcasting from a playground.
This was not easy. It
No.
sounded a lot easier than it was because we couldn't just podcast from a playground. We had to podcast on the playground equipment.
We were on the jungle gym. Who does that? Only us, and only for you. I had pre-measured out to make sure we could fit up there, but I didn't realize there were little holes everywhere. I kept falling in the holes.
Like the table leg was falling down.
Yes,
holes,
so we had to get
chair legs.
We had to get some
holes.
stuff to prop us up. So you're going to get a pretty tight shot, but anything for you guys. So.
Oh yeah, but definitely get over to Patreon and prop us up.
Oh, I like what you did there.
Yeah, you can help us out there. Also, if you like this channel, don't keep it to yourself. Don't be selfish. Share it with your friends.
Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check us out on TikTok. Come say hi on Instagram. Both shows, DK and Rock and Roll. So with that being said, let's transition to the Balder Playground.
So, the things we do for out and about.
We can't breathe or we're going to fall off this thing.
We are broadcasting to you from beautiful Balder Park. It reminds me of when in school we'd have a nice day and we'd say to the teacher, can we have school outside? Can we have school outside? Can we podcast outside? Oh, okay.
They, for some reason, if there's a little bit of background noise, they have decided to build this playground directly behind
695.
which is one of the busiest expressways in Baltimore. It's the loop that goes all the way around.
So that's the swishing sound you may or may not hear.
Yeah. Hopefully no sirens.
Yeah.
Big whammy, no sirens.
So, never podcasted from a playground before.
We already evicted a child. They may or may not be calling the police.
I knew Stace could take the little bastard. Plus, we have more insurance than him. So, anyway. So, I've mentioned this story, I think, in an interview, maybe not. But I was reminded of how naive we are when we are young newlyweds. When I first got married.
Not to me.
To my ex. When I first got married, to my mistake, her and her sisters joined a step aerobic class.
Couldn't be more boring, by the way.
Which is basically, you have a block.
You're on,
you're off,
you're down. It's front, back. It's ridiculous.
They were very excited about it. They all went out and got workout clothes and whatever else, and they tasked the men with making them stair steppers. So the little block.
You just stay at home and use your own stairs.
I don't know. But I was eager to please young husband. So I was the biggest schmuck. You could sort of tell by how long we've been married who did what. So me, as Captain Schmuck, went out and picked out the wood, put the box together, painted it pink, put little stickers all over it, decals, traction tape so she wouldn't slip. Spent hours on this thing, right? Okay, that's newlywed. Next up was my brother-in-law. They've been married 5 years. He just went to Dick's Sporting Goods and bought her like a yoga block, right? But that wasn't the best. The best was the grandfather that had been married for 25 years. He got his circular saw, cut a piece of treated lumber, threw it at his wife and said, "You're not going to stick to it anyway." And guess what? They quit the class in 2 weeks. So there's wisdom there.
What'd you do with the step? Make it into a planner?
I don't know whatever happened to that thing. I don't know. But that's just an example.
Used it for the kids, like a step up.
It was useless to anyone for any purpose after that. So, I was also thinking about how, that the older that our parents and grandparents get, we started getting them gifts that sort of they sort of project imminent death. Like, you got to get them the phone with the numbers that are as big as floor tiles so that they can hit 911, right? Or the necklace with the I've fallen but I can't get up, so you can pull that. That's a nice gift idea.
Have you seen the cell phone for old people? It's called like the jitterbug or something.
Yeah.
And it's like, it looks like a kid's toy. The
Right.
buttons are so big.
Or how about it, the classic? It's a pill container with every day of the week / every day of the month. Pills.
Yeah.
911, I've fallen and I can't get up in pills. And then it advances to the next stage where they kind of know they're about to shuffle off their mortal coil. I don't know if you had this. My grandparents started just giving shit back to us. You know, we really don't use this lamp you got us. We really don't use this whatever, these placemats you got us. These plates you got us. You just started. But of course, this was at the point where my grandmother was so out of it. She was washing paper plates in the sink and hanging them up to dry, reusing paper plates. Yeah.
That's reducing your carbon footprint right there.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Yeah. That was wasn't long before that.
You know, my ex-husband had an aunt, and I learned very quickly I could not compliment anything in her house. If I said, "Oh, that's a lovely clock," she'd be like, "It's yours."
Oh, she'd give it to you?
I don't want it, but
Oh,
you
wow.
know, so you couldn't compliment anything,
Gotcha.
or you'd be walking home with it.
Yeah. Yeah, that, sort of geriatric adjacent, We watch a lot of Hulu, somehow Hulu gets away with monthly fee and still has ads.
Well, there is a step down from Netflix now where it costs less, but you have to watch ads.
Who's gone broke paying for Netflix? Anyway, so those ads, these medical ads that we keep seeing, pharmaceuticals, they always say, less than 1% will experience dry mouth. 2 out of 10 patients experienced mild irritable bowel syndrome, something like that, right? And I'm just wondering, why hasn't Vegas gotten in on this? There's got to be some doctors that are compulsive gamblers, and they're seeing this, and they're going, shit, I'll take those odds. Give me $500 on Rosemary Bilko getting psoriasis. What are the odds on rectal bleeding? I'm telling you, this is a missed opportunity for DraftKings or whatever.
This would be a great office game to play.
And that led me to even more pondering. What if would it be possible to be a good marriage counselor if you were a Mormon? If you had 6 wives, would you be able to empathize with a man that is having problems with just one? I would think every appointment would be you get jaded so quickly. Be like, will you quit your bitching about your one female? I got 5 of them mad at me right now, and I don't even know why. I just don't see how it's sustainable. I think Mormon marriage counselor doesn't work.
There was that one crazy show they had. It was that reality show. I forget what the hell it was called. Oh, Sister Wives. And the guy, they all used to live in one house, but he got smart. I don't know if this was smart or not, actually. And he got them all their own houses, and he would alternate what house he stayed at. Tuesday night wife, Wednesday night wife, Thursday night wife. If Friday night wife's in a bad move, you just skip the Saturday.
How long did this masterpiece stay on the air?
It might still be on. I don't know. I watched it a few times. It was kind of ridiculous.
It sounds ridiculous. Yeah.
They were always fighting. The women were always jealous and fighting. And then he would bring in a new wife, and they'd all be jealous. They love that new wife smell.
Yeah.
It's kind of like new car.
Could the Mormons be marriage counselors? How about could an Amish person be a gamer? Think about it. Of course, they don't believe in electricity, but if you play enough backgammon, if you spend hours and hours perfecting your Monopoly game, couldn't you call yourself a gamer?
I guess, technically.
If you're checkmating in 2 minutes, everybody you play, aren't you technically a gamer?
They would be allowed, I guess, to play Dungeons and Dragons. Or is that too, I don't know, is that too much a cult for Amish people? But that takes hours. You could have tournaments.
Yeah.
Be up all night.
I think that the sport of hiking.
Is that a sport?
They call it a sport.
Competitive hiking. Going to be big.
It seems like it's just rife for pretension to me. Because if you get the Arc'teryx jacket and you get the North Face sweater and the Targhee boots and you're looking sharp, do you actually even need to hike? And how would anyone be able to verify it?
You could just hike around the mall if you wanted.
I mean, if you have the look, people will just assume, oh, we must be doing 5 miles today through the Appalachian Trail. You know, I mean.
When I was
So that's why I've started shopping at the Professional Bull Rider Shop
oh no.
and Beastmaster Rodeo Shop. I'm going to wear professional rodeo clothes, and then everyone will just assume that I'm a good bull rider without risking personal injury.
Maybe we could get you a mechanical bull for the basement.
No, I just want the swag. If they can pose with hiking, I can pose with bullfighting.
You know
That's the way I look
Funny,
at it.
back to the hiking. I went on the Appalachian Trail as a teenager,
Yeah.
and they all made fun of me because I had my Nikes, and they all had brand new hiking boots. Guess who had sore feet on day
Oh,
two?
they have brand new. You don't have anything brand new.
Nope.
Oh,
Not
my.
me. I was in my comfortable walking shoes.
My, imagine the chafing. Okay.
Then who had the last laugh?
Yes, exactly. Speaking of bull riding. Speaking of bull riding,
PBR?
it got us thinking about extreme hobbies. Google extreme hobbies. You'll find some real winners. You'll lose even more faith in humanity. I believe the first one you found, dear.
Some people even collect those in-flight sick bags.
Vomit
the
bags.
Vomit bag in front of your
Come
little
see
pouch.
my vomit bag collection from around the globe.
There are actually sites where people can go and trade their different ones back and forth to complete your collection, you know, in case you missed an airline.
This one made me laugh out loud at work. People thought there was something wrong with me. Even more than usual. EI is extreme ironing. Ironing. You iron while you're on a kayak. You iron while you're rock climbing. That's insane.
Why? Where did they plug in?
Who came up with this?
Do they have to use a generator?
I guess no, they'd have to use a battery pack. Everything's got to have a battery pack these days. Yeah,
Well, I guess you got to strike while the iron's hot, right?
exactly. Possible Olympic sport here. And this is another one. These people I work with, so I'll talk about it a little bit more later. They want to start doing more of these team building exercises. So one popular team building apparently is duck herding.
You
I
heard
saw-
ducks?
I saw a video of it. It's like you go. It looked like they were in a soccer field, and you're in a group or competitive team, and there's a collie involved.
Are you sure
and a
this isn't
trainer-
a cult?
No, and whoever can, you got to go around and you corral the ducks, and whoever gets them into their little area first
God.
wins. It's duck
Why
herding.
don't they just do cat herding? That's a lot harder.
How about the next one? The next one was perfect for you.
How about this is an actual thing, mobile phone throwing.
Yeah.
This has become an official sport in Finland.
They must have lousy service.
Contestants throw their phones and are judged on technique and distance. I guess I don't know which one is weighted more, but you know, I can see Verizon sponsoring the tournament. Wouldn't that be great? Or actually, a better sponsor would be those guys that have the kiosk at the mall to repair your broken phones. They'd be a better sponsor because they'd make more money, I think.
It's a bit of a conflict of interest, don't you think?
You know, but I participate in this sport, I swear to God, every time I get off a customer service call.
Wife carrying. This is an actual sport. I can't remember what country it's in, but you carry your wife through an obstacle course. And there was one that I looked at that the grand prize was you win your wife's weight in cheese.
Oh my
I don't
God.
think it's Scandinavian. It seems weird enough to be Scandinavian.
Jeez.
Wife carrying. Who wouldn't want their wife's weight in cheese, people?
You know, and that kind of reminded me of when I was in that mud race. I would never, ever do one of these things, by the way. It was horrible. It was,
Oh, the tough mudder.
you know, literally the tough mudder. I was in mud up to my waist.
I thought she
and
looked hot.
You had to pull yourself up on these logs, and I was having a little trouble because I was stuck. And the asshole I was with picked me up and threw me.
I like a dirty girl.
Then I was like completely covered. And I don't know if you've ever been completely covered in mud, but you can't get it off because if you go like this, your hands are muddy. I was like, I'm just fake like an adobe.
Yeah. Well, I think this wraps up our out and about, and we're going to try to figure out how the hell we get down from here.
And how to avoid all these holes.
And where the hell are we? Oh, I'm going to show you the rules of Boulder Park. You'll get a kick out of it. It does not say no podcasting, which
No,
is
it
why
doesn't.
we're here. So you'll see that in a moment.
We did
Soon-
not break any laws.
Yes, soon we will be back continuing the show.
Okay. I now know what wife carrying is. Fascinating. It's time for Stacy's ad.
All right. So this week I've had to hide this from the dog. I don't know why. I don't think he'd get into it. Is from the ever famous company Coffee AM, which is an online company where you can buy great coffees. They are a rewards program. So once you get enough points, you get money off your order. They do occasionally run specials and things too, like a free half pound. We get all our coffee from them. They are out of Georgia. They make fair trade coffee, micro lot brews. They have exotic coffees. They have coffee blends. We kind of like the flavored coffees. This one is a Hawaiian hazelnut. We get it in drip grind, but you can get it French press, whole beans. There's a drop down for however you would like it. You can get it regular decaf. Ours is regular, shocking. Here's another one, toasted coconut macaroon coffee. And they have also non-flavors as well, coffee paraphernalia and tea. And it ships out FedEx from Georgia straight to your door. Enjoy, use our link, and you will save off your first order.
We've tried the competitors. Percolator oscillator, no good. And the worst of all, the Bean Genie, we don't need it. Coffee AM rules. Okay. But it's time for Collectorbation. I'm so excited about this week's Collectorbation. We are featuring the gorgeous 25th anniversary. We are featuring the gorgeous 25th anniversary vinyl reissue of Fucking Champs 3 from Chicago's Drag City Records. This just came out yesterday. 2 records, 25 tracks, lovingly remastered by John Golden and all the other mad scientists over at Drag City Records. And this originally was released in 1997. The Champs, technically then they were calling themselves C4AM95. I don't know why. They were largely the outlet for the musical tantrums of our friend Kemgren and 2 other guitar-obsessed studio rats from the Bay Area. Both the 1994 cassette-only Triumph of the Air elements, as well as this frickin' masterpiece, are filled to the brim with chug-happy riffing, jumpy time signatures, and all manner of mostly instrumental digressions marinated in twin guitar harmonies.
While there's plenty of wacky hijinks with keyboards and even some programmed drums, this is a band absolutely obsessed with the guitar.
Didn't Tim Green tell us that one track has like 24 tracks of guitar? 31 tracks of guitar. It's crazy.
Riffs charge backwards, forward, and sideways like discarded shards from classic thrash records, while other miscellaneous git layers crackle and dance like an electrical storm.
The song we're going to play for you now might sound a little bit familiar. It's the Deaf Airs theme. This is Tonight We Ride.
Yeah, we've certainly figured out that Tim Green runs through it. I can't tell you the amount of artists we've interviewed where his name has come up.
He's amazing.
And we interviewed him ourselves, but you'd have to go all the way back to episode 1 of season 2.
Yeah. All right, continuing on with this Fucking Champs worship. These 25 tracks have a cinematic quality to them, particularly the kind of percussionless space signal experimentation of Golden Pipes trilogy. But damn if these cats don't back into some tasty jams. They just sort of creep up on you, shifting from overly complex sounding poot to bouncing Molotov cocktail riffarama in the flash of an eye. This is the most wildly original use of Thin Lizzy worship I've ever heard. The 7+ minute dreadnought Flawless Victory is a good example of any of TFC's knack for mainline to the brain excitement, particularly around the halfway mark. Some swords crashes through Anthrax-esque wrought iron rhythms and even some vocals, fast, loose, and on the hoof, while 3-minute nugget Tonight We Ride, we just played you, is sure to get some main shaking with seismic low end and restless drumming. I wouldn't go so far as to call the Fucking Champs metal, but lumping this band in with math rock makes about as much sense as calling a machete cutlery, you know. There's a huge improvement over the debut and a record lightning bolt or Caballero fans would swoon over. Check it out. We're going to play Some Swords. I love me some Fucking Champs. I guess it's time to shift gears to England.
This is our wonderful interview with the Hip Priests. They have quite a large discography going back. Their sound is consistent as ever. I really think Rodham House Blues is probably their best work to date. So get in there and check out some of our crazy stories with the Hip Priests.
This is going to shock you, but there's some disparaging comments about Dave Grohl. I know. I was also shocked. Anyway,
I said don't get them started.
take it away.
Afternoon, morning.
Yes, here it's morning. There it's afternoon, I guess. So,
Yeah, what is it? 11:30 there. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool.
We're in Baltimore on East Coast time. So
that's all right. So I'm having a breakfast beer for
There
you.
you go.
So that's all right. It's all right.
We
Yeah.
did this bit for the show where he had to do a blind beer tasting.
yeah.
And I found this Baltimore breakfast beer that was like oatmeal. It had chocolate extract, vanilla extract. It was really, you could almost chew the damn
Yeah.
beer.
I had to drink 3 regular beers to get the taste of that out. You know?
I was going to say it sounds a bit healthy to qualify it as real beer.
Right.
I mean, I suppose if you're talking healthy beer, that's like Guinness, isn't it?
Yeah.
Apparently, and no more than that. It's not meant to be good for you.
No, it's not.
That's the whole fun.
I didn't like that one at all.
No.
Well, anyway, we have been certainly enjoying the new album. I'm telling you, first listen through, by the time I got to song 3, I was like, wow.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
So,
Cool, thanks.
but I was a little confused because I was like, I thought, well, I started like looking into you guys and the name. So of course I came to the fall and I was like, well, I've never listened to them. I was like, wow, this is some weird stuff.
Is the name from the fall song?
No.
Okay.
Ah,
No,
There's
it's not.
zero
Actually.
overlap. There's zero
If there's
overlap
one
between
thing
their
we've
style.
been asked more than anything else is that, but it wasn't really. No.
Okay.
That makes more sense because I couldn't put those two things together.
Yeah, I made her suffer through Mark Smith ranting for 13 minutes. And
No.
where the overlap.
Oh well, I quite like them, but their name has nothing to do with them. Really, it was more to do with like Timothy Leary, who was a guy who drove around the States giving out loads of free LSD. And I read a book on him once, and I think it was around that idea, and they referred to him as being a hip priest, and I quite like that idea. And it's that kind of thing of rock and roll and religion. You know, they're always fine bedfellows, aren't they?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? If you don't believe in anything else, then any mention of kind of rock and roll, that's kind of, you know, there's always a religious element to it. So that was kind of it, really. That and the Timothy Leary LSD drugs thing. You know, little did we know that there was a German band already called that
Okay.
at the time. But there you go, enough of that.
What about the Roden House? It was an old
Lace?
lace factory in Nottingham. So what's the?
Yeah.
How did you choose that as the album title? Like, what's the?
They recorded there.
Oh, you recorded there. Okay.
Yeah. But how did you end up there?
How did that work out? Yeah.
It's a building that's been converted into sort of business spaces, and there's a lot of bands have rehearsal rooms in there, and so we had our rehearsal room there for probably the last 10 years.
Yeah.
But then we recently moved into, there is like a DIY studio rehearsal room place as well in the same building, that we moved in there and we recorded the album there. And yeah, it was just a title that, you know, we all threw ideas in. It was one I came up with, and everyone just liked it, so we went with that basically.
Yeah, because everyone else is from Nottingham, so it seemed a really good thing, especially because I think Oz came up with the name, and even though, you know, knowing what the songs were about, it made a lot of sense because we were like rehearsing there during lockdown, and we were like, man, and there was points when we were in there with masks on, and Austin had really bad COVID at one point, didn't you? And every week there'd be someone fucking unwell. I was the only one who got away with it, which I'm glad to say. And so it kind of felt really, it kind of ended up feeling really appropriate, really, once we had all the songs, you know, because it was all rehearsed in one room, and then the studio was literally like a room or so away from ours as well. So it's kind of, it kind of all made sense with the lockdown kind of, you know, claustrophobia vibe. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we all went.
I love the album cover though, the way you incorporated the blue color with the blues and the actual Rodham house in there, and then that huge skeleton over the top. Who was the mastermind behind that one?
That's a guy we've kind of known for quite a few years, actually, who's an artist, and we just gave him the title and a couple of ideas and let him run with it, really.
So I sent him a photo of the building, which is pretty much what he's put into it, and you know the title and you know some mention of the Grim Reaper, and he came back with that, and it was just great. Really, he kind of said it all. It's very funny as well. I like the little Reapers down the bottom.
Yeah.
As well, he was really cute. I quite like him. I'd like a little soft toy of him or something. Be really nice.
The subtle things, yeah.
Yeah.
Going back like to, you know, your earlier records, this one seems a little different than, you know, the Cream My Jeans and I Like to Fuck. This seems a little more, I want to say downtrodden because the songs are so powerful, but and still have a lot of emotion, but chasing death just to get by. So kind of, is that a natural evolution or was that just a commentary on the whole world status at that time?
I'll let you take that, Lee.
Yeah, I think what happened there is like we did our third album, Black Denim Blitz, and that was still more of the, you know, the generic rock and roll, crudity, post-dwarves kind of filth, really. And then I think it actually got really boring. It was like, fuck me, can't just be writing shit like this forever. It just seemed, you know, it's all right for Blake to do it. He gets away with it. But I was starting to feel a bit embarrassed. And I think the turning point was between that and the album before this called Stand for Nothing. That's got quite a lot of social and political kind of stuff on it as well. And I think it was when we wrote like this 10-minute thing called No Time Like Right Now that was very kind of political. And from that moment on, it was like, right, I can't write all these songs about filth anymore. Need to kind of write something. All of a sudden, you kind of think you want to try and do something that actually is, I don't know, it sounds a bit pretentious, but something that kind of means something, because otherwise it just seems a bit, you know, so it all got a bit more personal and it all got a bit more political, you know, not necessarily always with a big P, but just trying to do something that someone might think, oh, that's fucking means something, rather than another song about getting fucked up. I mean, you know, I'm sure there'll be a few more of those because that kind of thing still happens, isn't it? But it's like, I can't write another 3 albums of that.
I did think it was a really nice blend between like, you know, but you still have, you know, like I love the lyric living like you ain't shit to me from the best revenge, you know, so it's a really nice balance of, you know, personal and political. And I think it really works well.
Force volume.
Yeah, because there's still that idea I think with a lot of those songs on there, a lot of it's still really dark, but it is trying to look for some hope, you know. Because you do like look at loads of people and think, man, you've got to just do something to do a bit better. Whether that's having more fun, just not feeling like a complete fucking slave, you know, and whatever that means, you know. And that's not big politics. That's just kind of personal, and it's like trying to live your life in a way that's all right, you know, and not write more songs about teenage girls. Trying to do something a bit better. You know what I mean? Trying to grow up a bit. Don't know, grow up. Yeah, you know what I mean. Grow up a little bit, not too much.
It makes you,
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, like how do like Zeke and the Dwarves make 13 albums about getting fucked up? You know, how do they keep grind? You know,
well, Zeke kind of write about motorbikes and racing as well.
That's right,
But if I
racing stuff.
yeah, I suppose so. That's all right. I mean, you know, if Oz could write some lyrics, we could do an album on motorbikes as well, which would be all right. We've had the odd track, but yeah, Blake's a top guy, but I would just think, man, I've got to write some songs that aren't just about fucking right now. But I think Blake ain't bothered. He just sits at home because he just sits at home stroking his cats, doesn't he, Oz, and then just writing those songs album after album, and it don't seem to bother him. But that's all right.
That's great.
I did love the little clip of like Nathan like pulling the yoke in the middle of the field.
Mm.
I was like, oh, I was like, I can identify with that.
Yeah.
Well, that was that was a right palaver that because some friends of ours made that coffin. Because you couldn't buy one, that's so expensive, and it weighs a ton. It's now just sat outside our rehearsal room because no one can move it,
Wow.
which is just too heavy.
Gonna be a permanent
It can't be
fixture.
moved. That's great.
Yeah. Someone's put some fairy lights around it and it looks really nice, which is kind of ironic in itself, and it little coffin with fairy lights in. You know.
I also love the video with the piston power video. It's so short, but in that short, you just pack in so much energy and the antics. So you guys tour a lot. Was that just different shots? And what kind of antics did you get into during your recent UK touring?
I think a lot of the footage in that was from when we toured with the Super Suckers last year around the UK. So there was a lot from there. And I think from sort of the last year, 18 months, we've all sort of said when we've been on tour, just make sure you film stuff as well as, taking pictures on your phone and that. So at some point we've got all this stuff for a video. So yeah, that all just got thrown in there because it's from various parts, probably since like Ben joined the band, probably getting on for 2 years now. And I think most of that footage has all been filmed in the last 2 years, like in Europe and UK and wherever we've been, basically.
And I think there was hours and hours of it, but we just got to just throw as much of the stuff that looks, even though touring can often be fucking mind-numbingly dull.
Yeah.
So make it look interesting, make it look like you're having fun, which is, it is, but when you stick it in 3 minutes, it's like, yeah, I want to go on tour again, and then you go and do it and think, man, I want to go home.
I kind of got that gist, even though it was like looking like a lot of fun by the fact that your touring van is the misery.
Yeah.
vehicle.
The misery machine, from Scooby-Doo. That was the thing.
Yeah, I really like. It's neat though. It really came across like you guys have a lot of fun. So, but you've really toured alongside of bands like the Helicopters and the Good, the Bad, and the Zugly. What was your most favorite band to tour with so far? Well, I know
I
there's
think
a lot of
for me, it's probably the Super Suckers because we've done a couple of UK tours with them now, and I've always been a big fan anyway. And even though it's a different lineup now to their classic lineup, the lineup of the three of them now with Marty, Chris, and Eddie is just incredible. And they're all really good guys, really easy to get along with, really funny. So both tours we've done with them have just been really good fun. A lot of laughs, a lot of beers. Yeah, and cool. You just get to watch one of your favourite bands every night for free. It's great.
And you realise, when you talk about like road warriors, man, when they're out like the Super Suckers like they are now, and you just think they're out like 45 weeks out of 52 or whatever, and seeing a couple of those boys, they do know how to enjoy themselves, and think, fuck me, it's good going, Yeah. Just it's all they do, and it is relentless.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Austin says, they're really nice guys, such nice blokes.
Yeah, I've seen them a bunch of times. I remember playing. They have that one song where they have the recording of the phone from Jack and Dino trying to score tickets from them. Have you heard this?
Yeah.
And I remember playing it for people, and they weren't getting it. And I'm like, "Don't you understand?" He actually says something like, "Do I have to stand in line with the unwashed or something?" It's great. They got
That's it. I
into
can't
the
remember
album.
what it's from now, but yeah. And they are funny. They've just got a really dry sense of humour, and they're just, really good. So yeah, I'd say, especially doing it a couple of times with them, I think we've gotten to know them really well. So it's really cool. There's no problems at all. Just like hanging out with some more friends for a week or so. It's great, man.
That's the way it should be.
Yeah.
I had some questions about like some specific track questions. I don't know if you know the answers to, but on Trojan Horse Shit, what was that little kind of kind of industrial thing at the beginning, like static.
That's Nathan's. What is it, Lee? I can't
He's
remember.
got Nathan's got a bit of a funny thing for funny old shitty old synthesizers. I think he likes to think he's like Alan Vega on the Quiet or something from Swiss
Alan
Life, you know what I mean? So he has these shitty old like little ribbon synthesizers that you can hardly get a tune out of, but they just make really crazy fucked up noises. And so we were going to start the album, and we were like, and it did just start, and we were like, I think there was a difference of opinion, but then we ended up he had some stupid little keyboard that all it did was go and didn't really do anything. But it's like, oh, that sounds cool. So we just put a bit of that on the top.
That's cool.
Yeah, I was like trying to figure out what the holy heck that was, but it was really good. The
Yeah.
guitars on this album are so solid, but I love that kind of fuzzy feel. Do you use any kind of pedals, or is that just the post-production?
Yeah, sort of. We don't really use pedals. It's just like Les Paul into a Marshall, that classic thing. I think maybe on the album I had like a slight overdrive pedal on, but that was about it. So a lot of it's probably just in the mixing and the mastering.
Yeah, there's a few other bit effects in there at places, but as regards the main guitar sound, that's probably is it, isn't it?
Yeah. It was very, like, we wanted it very kind of straightforward, and so we could just replicate it live, and so it sounded more like we do live. So hence why we didn't do countless overdubs and stuff like this. We wanted it to be, more of a reflection of what we sound like live.
I see you guys like parody album covers. I really like parody album covers. The Love is the Drugs, Roxy Music artwork is awesome. And I really like the Saxon parody on the split with Space Force. Who comes up with that stuff? I mean, there's probably more that I haven't seen, but I hate when people don't get it.
A lot of it's just, pretty much all the 7-inches we've done and that. It's been me and Lee that have come up with the ideas along with the artists that we've used for them. The Love is the Drugs one was a friend of ours who's a graphic designer who we got Becky, the girl who's the model on the front. She lives in like Pittsburgh, and she got someone to do the photos for her and then sent them over. And then our friend Elliot, who's like an absolute Photoshop genius, he just replicated the Roxy music thing.
Yeah, I think where that came from was, you remember, is Marco from Ghost Highway Records suggested us doing a Roxy Music cover.
That's right, yeah.
Then it was like, oh, well, if we do, we need to replicate that cover as well. That was before we grew out of the,
naked girls.
The naked girls thing.
Yeah. And then the Saxon and Space Force one was actually me that I drew all.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And then Cheers to Me, which was the one that's got Ken from the Bronx on, and who obviously was in the Dragons, was just because I happened to write a song called that, and then it was like, oh shit, it is the name of that Dragons album, so we've got to do that then, haven't we?
Oh, cool.
And it was then great getting him to do it, because they just took it on tour, didn't they, somewhere?
Yeah, because like I know Ken well, and so I asked him if he would do it, like replicate his own band's record cover. And he was like, yeah, sure. So like the Bronx are on tour, and he got, I think it was Joby from the band that took the photo of Ken sat at the bar. So extra bit of kudos there, having two of them involved.
Yeah, I can't remember what other covers has been that have been like that, but like you say, sometimes people just don't get it anyway. So you're sniggering because you think you're really fucking clever, and everyone's like, oh, yeah, man, start off, don't matter.
It is clever. It is clever.
Thank you. I needed that affirmation.
I mean, you guys have a lot of splits. Like, how do you decide who you do splits with? What's that process like? Is it from touring, or like how do you do that?
A lot of them are bands that we've played with. The original, like the first split we did was with the Dwarves, and we got asked by a label, would you do a split with the Dwarves? And we were like, yeah, sure. And then we kind of we then had a lot more of these small labels approaching us saying, would you do a split single? And a lot of the time we would say, well, if we can choose the band, then yeah. And so like we did a couple with Bitch Queens because they're our friends from Switzerland that we've toured with a lot. And then we've done like, who did we do? We generally would try and help out other bands because we've always done everything in a very sort of DIY way and support our minuscule little scene. And so we did one with, there was a local band called Mannequin from Nottingham, which is Ben, our current guitarist. That was his first main band. And we'd help them out, putting them on shows with us. And then we said there was a label wanted us to do a split. And we said, oh yeah, we want this local band Mannequin to be on it with us so that they could get their first sort of release out. And yeah, that's how that one happened. So
I'm just looking at them now on Bandcamp to remind myself. I'd lost track actually. Yeah. So Billy Hopeless, there was some Bloodlights one, which was great. That was Captain Poon from Lucifer, and we're big fans of them. Then there was was it Bitch Queens? The Maximum Rock and Roll. What was that? Oh yeah, Electric Frankenstein, Grindhouse. Yeah, I've lost track of them myself actually.
Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, but it's one great thing about splits is they're so collectible that they're sort of they're Spotify proof. You know, like the internet hasn't had any effect on splits because they're so collectible. It's cool.
Yeah.
And the thing is, that's why we loved them and we started kind of giving things away with them as well, because they should be special little artifacts, shouldn't they?
Yeah.
You know,
very cool.
like treasure.
Yeah, I really liked your current bundle with the comic book. Now, does it have a plot line? I thought that was neat to include with the vinyl.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's not all a comic book, but I'll let say the rest. I know that the cover makes you think it's going to be amazing, and it is pretty cool. But it's not all. It's not like all a Stan Lee production. It's a bit slightly different once you open it.
It's more like a like magazine than a comic, to be honest. And the idea that like Lee mainly came up with was to have it as a mashup of like Kerrang, the old British metal magazine, and Smash Hits, which was like the pop magazine you used to get over here in the 80s. And so it's got an interview with us, and then there's some like sort of silly questions like favorite food and things like that you used to get in Smash Hits. And then there's like there's a couple of cartoon drawings in there. There's a poster, and then some like fake adverts and stuff that used to be in those kind of magazines. So it's very
cool. Like Smash Hits was like the British Tiger Beat, right? Basically.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
It's aimed just at kind of the real teeny market.
Yeah.
But we did some of it really cheesy, really, just for fun, because it just seemed so inappropriate. But yeah.
Yeah, I was a total Kerrang guy growing up. I paid for the imports. That was always my favorite.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you should have a look at our rehearsal room. Oh my God. When we moved into this room, Ben and Austin and Ben just spent, I don't think I was even there. I just turned up a few days later. And because, were they all yours or were they Craig's? So there's hundreds of old Kerrangs. I've got a box here still.
Yeah.
And everywhere was just kind of wallpapered now.
I loved it. Yeah, I loved it.
Wow.
Yeah, we took a look.
Me
and
Ben,
the US.
Yeah. Me and Ben spent like an afternoon just pulling all the posters out of these old Kerrangs and pasting them to the walls. So it basically looks like a 1980s teenager's bedroom. It's great.
Yeah, I remember, I think it was Malcolm Dome wrote a review of like Lee Aaron's album. It was called I Like to Rock. And it basically said, how Canadian is that? She likes to rock. He doesn't love it. I mean, just you didn't get that kind of writing in the US. It's so
That's
great.
it. He doesn't love to rock. It's not like, I like to fuck, I love to fuck. I kind of like rock, but only at the weekend.
As long
sometimes.
as it's done in an orderly fashion, I like it.
Yeah.
Depending what trousers I've got on, I might like to rock. I might not. I don't know. Ask me nearer the time.
Exactly. Oh, that's great.
So I've never seen you guys live. I'm hoping at some point you're going to get over this way. Because I was reading, how you are such a white hot live band. Would you consider like doing a stream, or have you?
No, that was especially in like COVID when everyone was doing live streams and things like that, we were just like, it's not us. Like, we're a band that plays in, you know, bars and small venues, and I don't think we could. I think we'd struggle to get into
You know
it.
what? I'd feel embarrassed if I looked halfway through and there was 15 people. I'd be like, oh fuck, man. If there wasn't like hundreds watching, you'd be like, oh no. Just pretend your phone's gone dead. Turn it off.
That's funny.
Oh, there's Pussycat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were talking about that. We have 4, and there's always someone inserting themselves.
Ah.
We don't know why.
Yeah, because where are you in the States then?
Baltimore.
Oh, Baltimore. Oh, we did. We did go to Baltimore, didn't we? Yeah.
Well, hopefully we can get you back over this way.
That'd be great.
What was that place again? Was that the night Austin, when Nathan almost had his head cut off?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good night.
He got his head carved.
Well, he was like, Nathan was crowd surfing, and there was like one of the big fans on the ceiling, and he was like literally inches away from getting his head in the fan.
You don't forget that. Yeah.
We were watching it in slow motion as well. It's like, oh, if they lift him up any higher, it was like, oh Christ, man. Just see like blood and gore flying everywhere.
Oh my god.
How was it?
That must have happened at some point to some other.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way that you're the only ones that had that, you know. So.
Well, in Spain last year, yeah.
It was at the Sidebar, wasn't it? That was the place.
Sidebar. Okay, yeah, I know exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a small place. Yeah.
Oh god. I never forget this, and this is on YouTube, but we interviewed this one band, Crysex, and they had their drummer on a platform, and security was supposed to hold it in place, but they didn't, and they just took him out into the crowd. Thank God they did deliver him back to the stage, but they were just watching him in horror.
It was at Whack, and so it was a huge crowd, and he kept drumming because he thought that's what he should do. And the whole band it's on YouTube. The whole band is super nervous, like, bring him back. It's great.
That'd just be so, if you would just think, right, open the doors, let's just go down the street, you know, and someone filming it and just kind of walk to another bar, get him a pizza while he's still drumming, thinking, man, someone's going to have to take me back in a minute.
That's right. Oh, that was great. Yeah.
I'd be a little afraid of some of the aggressive. We've seen some aggressive crowd surfings at some of the shows we've been to by the singer, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a little game that we play. I have 100 random questions in front of me, but I want each of you to pick 3 numbers, so you'll each get 3 random questions.
Right.
I'll go 13, 21, and 72.
Alrighty. Number 13. How do you take your coffee?
Sugar and milk.
Okay.
Simple enough.
Number 21. Have you ever pulled a prank on someone?
Nothing. I can't even. It sounds really dull, but I can't particularly think of anything.
I think, like, you know, it's constant when we're away, that kind of thing. I suppose a prank is a proper trick, isn't it? Let me think. I don't know. I'm not thinking for you. It's only because I would have liked that you've been there. We must have done something.
No, sorry, that's really boring. I can't think of anything for that.
All right, 72. Would you like M&Ms, popcorn, or both mixed together?
M&Ms, peanut M&Ms.
Okay.
Oh,
Very
definitive
specific.
answer.
But you got to take the brown ones out.
Oh yeah, the Van Halen.
All right, Sarah, you're up next. Pick your 3 numbers.
I'll have number 8, number 19, and 24. I don't know if I kept them all under 25, and I've got between 100. That's me. I'm thinking all the really rude ones will be in the first 25.
Okay.
All right, number 8. What is the weirdest thing in your parents' or grandparents' home?
Fucking hell.
Normally you, mate.
Arr.
I think I would say me. Let me think. In my mum's home, the weirdest thing. Oh, I don't know. I suppose there's some weird ornaments and shit. Oh God, what's really weird? There's some really bad pictures, but what's weird? Don't know. I wouldn't want to go creeping through the drawers to find out because you never know. You could find something like you never want to see again that will scar you forever. I can remember that when I was younger, actually, finding the porn.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
But of late now, I think I'd agree with Austin. It's probably me whenever I visit because I can't think of anything like particularly weird, apart from that kind of standard stuff that they have that you think, it's all this crap.
Right. Yeah, my parents had a figurine Christmas. It was supposed to be Father Christmas, but it was a white hat pointed. It looked like the KKK. And it just got to the point where we would say, "Where's the KKK Santa?" We didn't put that out yet. You just got used to it.
Oh, Father Camus. Oh God, yeah, he sounds a bit terrifying.
Right. It's not a proper setup without the KKK.
Obviously, definitely dreaming of a white Christmas, isn't he? Like, terrifying idea.
I see what you did there. Yeah. Okay.
The weird porn stuff. My grandmother used to babysit me, and then she would put on Benny Hill and fall asleep. And I'm like 8 or 9 going, all right, everyone's naked on screen now. I don't.
Oh, that
Okay.
was such a great show, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So we're up to 19. What is your least favorite song?
Least favourite song in the world? Oh, Christ. Probably of late, I'd probably say anything by people, something like Coldplay. Oh, man, I hate all that shit so much.
I never liked that.
Yeah. I can't. Can you narrow it down to one song, though? It's impossible, isn't it? Because when you're kind of a bit of a music, I mean, I listen to some crap as well, and we don't always agree on music in the van, but, there's crap, and it's like crap that you just think, like Snow Patrol and Coldplay, like that music that is like, oh, why'd you bother? You might as well just, if you're going to listen to that, just get another hobby. Don't bother listening to music. It's like that, isn't it, really?
Agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's Foo Fighters. I feel like they're the safest rock band that's ever existed. It's
Yes, agree. I'd agree with you on that.
It could
100%.
they could
Oh,
do like
but,
a Disney
Dave-
soundtrack, and it would be fine.
Yeah.
Dave's so cuddly, though, isn't he?
Don't get him started on Dave Grohl.
Yeah, I
please.
know. Yeah,
I know, we have the same debates because Austin will say he hates him, and I kind of go, I'd quite like a hug from him though, because I bet it's a really nice hug. You know what I mean? Like a proper man hug, like you do with your good mates. Like I feel safe in your arms, Dave. Like that.
exactly. Yeah.
All right. Number 24. Boxers or briefs, Mr. President?
Oh my. Hey, man, now-
Oh, boxers,
Okay. Yeah.
definitely yes. Not briefs are only like for even more middle-aged men when they're swimming, like speedos, like speedo trunks. Who wears those apart from the French? It's only French people wear those kind of things. I assure you. Yeah.
We asked that question to a guy in some band, and he said, "I'm wearing my Slayer silk boxers," and it was so specific that I started to get a little uncomfortable. I was like, "All right, let's move on."
Yeah. I'm wearing my extremely tight satin boxers with a hole in the back and the front.
And that was when the interview took a strange turn.
Yeah. Of course, we're still good friends now.
Oh, I love it. So after Stand for Nothing, you guys almost called it quits, and I'm so glad you didn't. But what kind of brought everything back together?
I think it wasn't like I don't think there was ever any conversation about us actually calling it quits. It was more of whether we were going to do another album or not. Because we'd been doing the split 7 inches a lot. And I remember at the time, Lee wasn't that keen on doing another album. He wanted to carry on doing 7 inches. Whereas I was the opposite. I was getting bored of putting out a limited amount of 7 inches for the same exact people to buy all the time. And then I think what probably made the difference was when we obviously had such a break in the lockdown where we couldn't rehearse or anything. And then when we got back in the room and started rehearsing, I think we probably all realised how much we'd missed it. And then Ben had never been on one of the albums because he'd only joined a couple of years before, so he was really keen to do an album. And I think as we started rehearsing new songs up, it was just, well, we've got a lot of good songs here. We should just do it as an album and forget the whole split 7 inches thing for a while.
For a while, I kind of miss doing all the split sevens though. Yeah, just because it's nice having something out like kind of quite regularly.
Yeah, but it had got to that point though, wasn't it, where we were selling the same amount every one we released, and we're reaching
it kind of
anyone
feels
else.
like that.
Yeah.
It's kind of the trend with Spotify now. It's like sometimes, we'll hear something and take interest and they'll have 2 singles out. And I'm like, what can we do with that? We can't do anything with that.
Yeah, the approach now for young bands is the label wants you to have all your social stuff set up ahead of time. Like they want you to already have a following and everything before they'll even consider backing you.
Yeah.
So it's not unusual for us to see a band that's got a huge following on Spotify, a huge following on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok, and they have 2 singles. So it's like that comes before the music. It's so different than the way it used to be.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, does it? And then they're probably still playing to some bands. They're probably still playing to like 50, 75 people, but like there's all that online. There's no real barometer of how well anyone's doing anymore, is there? Really, you can't tell.
Yeah, and then they'll come to us and I'll say, I can't do anything with you. I need some product. I need, put out an album and maybe we'll get behind it. I mean, there's got to be something.
I mean, I must admit, it was a bit weird for us. Like we did those singles that weren't physical singles, and it's the first time we'd ever done that.
Yeah.
But then, labels kind of like to do it like that, and by all means, I don't think there's any way we would have done it if the record wasn't coming out. Because just doing pretend digital singles would be like, it ain't really, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the most unusual guitar that you have ever owned?
Unusual. I don't know. I've had that many. I kind of lose track because I'm a bit of a sucker for buying new guitars, and then I get bored of them and sell them, and I kind of swap them a lot. I mean, I've had some interesting ones, as in ones that have been owned by other people. Like I've got one at the moment, a Gordon Smith, which was owned by a guy called Mackie, who was originally the bass player in the UK punk band called Blitz. And then he did a band called Epic Problem that he played guitar in, and it's the guitar that he played in that band that I've got. So kind of quite a nice bit of history to it. But yeah, I've never had anything like really bizarre, I don't think.
Well, I mean, the British in Britain, the rock scene is so insular. Do you have any stories? Have you ever walked into a bar and Bill Ward's sitting there? You got to have some stories. Have you ever bumped into rock royalty and just been like, wow?
Rock royalty.
In London.
Yeah, I think you used to see Lemmy about a bit, because I can remember one of the best stories was this was the one time I was with a friend of mine called Lloyd, and we actually went to some place called Stringfellows, which is a gentleman's club.
Okay.
You know the kind of place none of us would ever go again.
No, of course
Now
not.
we don't do that thing. But Lemmy was there, and you used to see him around quite a bit, And my mate said he had his membership card for the place, and he said, "Lemmy, we'll write something really dirty on it. Write something really fucking dirty." And he said, "To Lloyd, lots of love, Lemmy."
Figures, yeah.
So you used to see people. Yeah, there was various clubs and bars like the Crowbar and there, and Sam Moritz, which was gossips that you'd see people about, really. But thing is, I suppose you say it, since you don't really London, even London's a funny place for rock and roll rock scene. Really, it's just all lots of little scenes, and so many clubs and places are closed now as well. It's a bit.
Yeah.
Whenever we go anywhere else like Europe, we think it's like fantastic because it's how you can remember things being a bit more here, like lots of really cool bars and cool venues. Whereas so many have closed here, haven't they?
Yeah.
Mm.
And continue to close as well.
Yeah.
So what's next on tap for you guys? It sounds like you still have a lot of tour dates out there.
Yeah, we've got some UK shows this week with Bitch Queens, our friends from Switzerland. So they're coming over for probably their final. Well, it'll be their final visit to the UK because they're going on hiatus for a while. Their guitarist has left currently, so I'm playing guitar for them and for the Hit Priests for these 4 shows. And then we've got some shows with Zeke next month in the UK. And then we actually get sort of a couple of months off, really, because we've been pretty busy all year so far. But then we've got a couple of months off over the summer, so everyone can, go on their family holidays and stuff like that. And then we've got a UK tour that we're putting together end of September, early October at the minute.
September, October, and a few bits and bobs in.
Yeah. And then
That's
starting, I think we've been talking about maybe starting rehearsing up new songs, potentially for a new album over the summer, really, when we've got some downtime.
Yeah.
So no chance of you guys doing a US tour?
Potentially, we've been twice. I mean, it's hard because of just your visa laws and things like that. So it's not the easiest thing to do.
The stress of getting in last time, wow.
Yeah.
We were shitting ourselves, the kind of interrogation you get.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Because if you don't get a working visa, you have to just creep in, crawl along the floor and hope they don't see you virtually.
Oh my gosh. Well, if it makes you feel any better, I read when they come back from the moon, they make the astronauts go through customs. True.
Really?
True.
Back from space.
Or the space station, yeah.
That makes sense to somebody, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, we would like to get back over there at some point. We were talking about maybe next year trying to do maybe America again, or maybe go somewhere new that we've not been, like Australia or maybe Brazil or something, or just try and do something a bit more epic rather than bouncing around the UK and then going over to France for a bit and then coming back and
Yeah, the last trip was great. I mean, it's a big old place, isn't it? Really. So I mean, if you do a couple of weeks, it's hard going, kind of getting around it.
28.
Yeah, a lot of long drives.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always tease. It's like sometimes if I really want a show to come, they'll go to Philadelphia and DC and completely skip Baltimore. I'm like, really?
Yeah, I used to work for a Danish company, and I handled trucking and logistics, and they couldn't wrap their heads around how big this country is. That all of their timetables were in hours, because that's how small the country is.
Yeah,
I would be in meetings. I would say, we could fit your country into Pennsylvania. Okay, just you have to understand. There's a lot more that can go wrong in the United States, because
Oh yeah, because in the UK here, we kind of think it's a long. So if you've got a show and it's like 6 hours, it's like, man, 6 hours, that's a bit shit. And then we speak to friends in Australia, and they'll drive like 12 hours for a gig, and it's like, and then come back. It's like, what, really? Jeez.
Yeah. You can drive for 2 days in Texas and still be in Texas. It's Well, this was great.
Yes, thank you
I
so
really
much
appreciate
for
you guys
this
taking the
album.
time. Yeah, we love the album. We're gonna continue to shout it from the rooftops.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
Good luck with the tour, and good luck with playing guitar for Bitch Queens. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll be a busy man.
Yeah.
Busy man, he'll be getting paid double though, won't he?
Yeah, there's that. Yeah.
Well, yeah, double of nothing is still nothing, unfortunately.
Maybe someone will buy an extra drink. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. Take pity on me.
All right, gents. Thank you very much.
falling on deaf ears.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead with Deaf Ears 1, sweetheart?
All right, so we're up to Deaf Ears 1. This is Healthy Living, Songs of Abundance, Psalms of Grief. Not to say that UK's trio Healthy Living debut is a little downbeat, but play this thing on your back porch for a couple of hours and even the laughing kookaburras will need therapists. But don't get the wrong idea. This is some quality moat metal bolstered with post-rock elements, mood shifts, typically from bleak to bleaker, and chill bump-inducing vocals from singer Amaya Lopez Caramero.
You're not going to hear this at Chuck E. Cheese. Yeah. There's something inherently creepy about the band's moniker, too, Healthy Living. It's so deceptively upbeat and miles away from the atmosphere of this record. This stuff makes Jarbo's darkest high school poetry seem like a bubblegum advertisement. It's a hodgepodge of colliding genres like doomy shoegaze in Dream Hive, depressive dream pop in Bloom, and wounded goth in Ghost Limbs. In terms of standout tracks, the crescendo the band reaches in To the Fields is just breathtaking. Amaya's vocal performance is totally arresting. The Gallows breaks out the heavy in a big way, pumping double bass. Suddenly they're black metal over vocal warbles and pachyderm-sized riffs. I admit I had to turn it off a few times and I started to feel like that horse in the mud in the Never-Ending Story. Remember that?
Yeah.
What was the horse's name? Solstice? Artist?
Atreyu?
Atreyu was the
That
boy.
was the boy.
Yeah, that was pretty bleak. For
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Never-Ending Story aside, if you're okay with dancing till you frown, this is a must-hear. Think Juna, Duel, Dead Can Dance, all the other bands that start with D. So let's play a song. This is Dream High.
You know, it's pretty crazy with that Amaya is also in another band, which I think the name is a little more appropriate.
Is it the same type of music? Or?
A little different, but it's called Maud the Moth.
Oh, okay.
So they kind of ended up getting together because Scott and Stefan did most of the songwriting, and then they asked her to come in to do some guest vocals, and then they decided they liked it so much. And thus Healthy Living was formed.
I have a feeling it's not Child Nursery Rhymes. So. Okay.
All right, Deaf Ears 2. This is Tanith, Voyage. This is an exciting treat. Just when we thought this Brooklyn, UK project was going to be a one-off, because figure it's a little hard logistically with 2 countries involved. But this classy metal However, this classy metal act returns as a trio sans second guitarist Charles Newton. If anything, Voyage proves that a band with NWO BHM legend Russ Tippins, now he's in Satan, Pariah, Blind Fury, so clearly success runs through this man. And this is no exception. It needs nothing else guitar-wise.
Right.
This record is 40 minutes of classy, memorable hard rock that wears its influences on its sleeve with colorful riffing, majestic leads, and arresting vocals.
Right. There's really no substitute for experience, and this band proves it. If you listen to the howling lyrical guitar solo in Olympus by Dawn, that's one we're going to play for you in a minute. So finely crafted and full of pop smarts. The song Flame rises from a sultry organ intro to a pulse reminiscent of Rush/Triumph, and a hooky chorus from Cindy Maynard. One flame in the dark, one flame to unite us all. It's great stuff. But the sleeper keeper of the disc has to be Falling Wizard. I don't know why I won't get him a cane.
Maybe a walker.
Falling Wizard. The poor man, will somebody help him? Anyway, riffs and clean guitar trapdoors that Buck Dharma himself would be proud to claim. Plus, I love the cover art. I mean, I went to go buy the vinyl like 3 times and made myself stop because things are a little tight here. Anyway, it's got a gorgeous handmade vibe about it. This is a must-hear for Wings of Eagles mustache rock aficionados, both young and old.
definitely a 70s vibe going on here, but
Yeah.
it definitely has modern twists. They did say on their Facebook page they will be returning to a 4-piece when they take it on the road.
Oh, that's right. You told me.
Yeah.
That. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interestingly, all 3 bands that we feature on Deaf Ears this week are trios. So I don't know how that happened.
Well,
Are they all English too? This one's half English. What was the Healthy Living? Were they? No, they're not all English,
No.
but they're all trios. So very interesting.
But yeah, Healthy Living is out of Edinburgh, UK, but
Yeah, they're good. And all 3 are.
no,
UK trio.
Model X-Rays is out of Boston, babe.
Oh, that's right. They just sound English. All right.
They're just crazy.
Yeah. Well, we're getting to that one. Let's
Okay.
play a song. This is Olympus by Dawn. Okay, Deaf Ears 3 is model/actress, and the album is Dog's Body. 4 weirdos from both coasts of the US seeking maximum art damage without sacrificing sexy beats.
Did you see the picture of the band where the 3 guys are standing in the camera and the one guy slumped over the table?
No.
Yeah, it's really
There's
weird.
all kinds of weird pictures of this band. They only had a couple of singles out prior to this on the DIY label called Dots Per Inch Music. And that has led to Dog's Body, 10 songs of chaotic guitar slash bastardized rave beats and the lunatic ravings of vocalist Cole Hayden, who seems to be channeling Brian Ferry on a steady diet of nitrous oxide for 40 minutes.
I got some talking heads in there too.
Yeah.
All right, so brace yourself because this is a weird one,
Yeah.
a danceable one, but definitely weird. It's post-punk, so convinced it's of its own message, it doesn't seem to care if we get it or not.
I don't.
Hayden always sounds like he's just exhausted from trying to explain himself. Something like Pure Mode repeatedly wailing, "Oh bitch, I might enter into my pure mode," despite the fact we have no idea what that means. Most of it is an odd combination of manic but danceable until we get to the end of the disc when they find their inner Radiohead with the drum-free lullabies, Sun In and Sleepless, which end the disc in a sort of melancholy fugue. But I recommend a tall glass of their disco hell-like Crossing Guard.
Which we're going to play for you.
It's a smart, sexy pulse that almost sounds British but isn't.
See why I thought they were British.
They're not British. It's nice to find a record that doesn't play by the rules in 2023.
Ironically, reviewing this nutcase record made me feel like a dog's body. Yeah.
Aptly named. And you have to check out the video for Crossing Guard as well.
Is that the one with the scythe?
It's this
Right.
bandaged guy who's like, looks like he's been doused in talcum powder. His face is so white with a scythe. And there are people running around doing chores like hanging laundry and mowing the lawn. And they're rolling around in the back of a car with
He's in
a
the back
girl
of
with
a
a red
car.
dress. And he kind of gets baptized by him at one point. And then he kind of carries her off like she may or may not be dead. So definitely check that one out.
I don't get any of it at all.
But we like this song anyway.
Yeah, so here's Crossing Guard. Oh my, this was a madcap episode. Very madcap. We talked about, we broadcasted from a playground.
Yeah, I think we might be in the Guinness Book of World Records for the first podcasters on playground equipment.
We'll have to
Where's
sue,
that one, Guinness?
We'll have to sue them. Remember the guy sued everybody? We talked about my bull riding clothes. A huge hit.
We talked about a lot of crazy bands, some UK, some not.
All trios, it seems. Although Caprice are 5. Talked about duck herding. We talked about interesting product taglines like meth, we're on it.
This has been the Snaggletooth Rock and Roll Podcast. Special thanks to Austin and Lee from the Hip Priest for appearing in the show. We're loving the album. Please get over here to the United States and tear it up. Snaggletooth theme courtesy of Jens Kemgren of the Firebombs. Deaf Ears theme is actually Tonight We Ride by the Fucking Champs, which can be purchased in luscious remastered vinyl over at Drag City site. Get on it, people! Season 3 artwork by the enormously talented Casey Angel. Deaf Ears, check them out. Model Actress, which is actually on tour right now in Europe, even though they're not European. Tanith, who is bi-country, bicultural, bi-coastal, bi-country. And Healthy Living. All Content 2023, the Snaggletooth Rock and Roll Podcast.
Coming soon, the new Metal Lucifer album, Heavy Metal Sawzall.
This is the Snaggletooth Rock and Roll Podcast.